Welcome to the AtTheRaces.com preview of the Racing Post Arkle. Mick Fitzgerald knows what it takes to win the race. He scored aboard Tuchev, and he's going to be giving us his expert thoughts on this year's renewal, which Mick at the start of the season looked as though it was going to be very competitive, but slowly the competition's fallen away and the favourite's position at the head of the market has got stronger and stronger. And
may get stronger again. Like, you imagine if the roller coaster that is Willie Mullins' team gathers pace if Douvan wins the first. Un De Sceaux could end up being 1 to 2. The thing for me with this fella, we're seeing him beat Cheltenham here in Gilgamboa, and he's trouncing them. He's very highly thought of by this camp. He's unbeaten, never been to Cheltenham. That is a major concern for me. He's a horse who's quite fractious, free going. And, you know, the worry is, with the new start system that they have in this country now, if they try and get a flyer and burst the tape first time, they then have to have a standing start. Now, Un De Sceaux, at a standing start with several others around him, he might just then be wound up like a coiled spring. And once he goes down over those first 4 fences, he is so free going, he could end up over jumping. Now, the worry is he's already fallen once, and yes, he is a good jumper on the whole, but do you want to take 1 to 2 about a horse in an Arkle who's already fallen? Well, I don't. I'd love to see him run, and I'd love to see him be impressive, because he looks like he's got all the right credentials. But as a betting proposition, I don't think he's value, and I think there's much better value to be had back in some of the others.
Yeah, he's 7 from 7 over hurdles. He was the top-rated hurdler in the field, but he has fallen on one of his 3 starts over fences. So what can we take him on with then? What about Josses Hill for Nicky Henderson? A horse that Connections Mix seem to really be in love with. Barry Garrett, he seems to think, has got all the credentials, but on what we see on the racecourse, it's quite hard to have the same amount of confidence.
It is. The only thing I would say is Barry Garrett is one of the best judges around. Doesn't get it wrong very often with his choice of races or horses. He is absolutely adamant that this is the right race for this horse. Nicky, I was there the other morning when this horse schooled, and he schooled well, but he wasn't breathtaking. And Nicky said to him, you know, really, what about, he's still in the 2.5. Barry said, no, Arkle. That's where he's going. And he's got a real chance. His form last year, there's no getting away from it. The horses that, what I call them, repeat offenders, horses that go back to Cheltenham time after time and perform, they're the ones you want to be siding with. He ran really well when he finished second in the Supreme last year, then went on and won at Aintree. He's been getting better and better and better as the season has gone on with his jumping. And Barry has always said this is his race.
I remember when he went up at Doncaster, I said to Barry about, is he a sort of an Arkle horse? Is he the sort of horse you'd like to ride in an Arkle? After he jumped pretty badly, and he looked at me as if I had 2 heads.
Yeah.
And he seems to just think the world of Josses Hill. What about Sergeant Reckless? Not got the most orthodox preparation for the race. He ran on the all-weather at Kempton last time. He ran on the Christmas hurdle, and we've only mixed him once over fences.
Yeah, he's, you know, again, another horse who's got festival form. He ran through an awful lot of beaten horses when finishing placed. He just doesn't strike me as one that you could have the utmost faith in a race like the Arkle. That would be a concern for me. I think something has to happen to the front 2 or 3 for this fella to have a real live chance. Yeah,
he's very light on experience, a 144 rated hurdler. Now, Vator is likely to go for the 2.5 miler, but Mick, if he came back in trip for the 2 mile, if Un De Sceaux maybe wasn't there,
yeah,
how would you rate his chances?
Well, he won a Supreme Novices Hurdle, and, you know, who's to say that we're going to be seeing Faugheen running in the Champion Hurdle, who won the Neptune over 2.5. The Supreme Novices Hurdle winner is now stepping up in trip, so it's kind of a reverse role for these 2 horses. He looked really good when he won first time. He hasn't looked as good since. And that's the concern for me. I think he's, you know, they're running him in the 2.5 because obviously they have Un De Sceaux and the Arkle, and it's just going to give him that little bit more time between the obstacles to organise himself. So, you know, I think there's no doubting his ability, but is he in the same sort of form that he was in coming into the festival this year? I don't think he is.
And there's a key quote from Willie Mullins last week or the week before where he said, I don't think we've seen anywhere near the potential of what this horse can do, but so for some reason he's not showing his best form.
No, I think that's a very fair comment.
And there are a couple more we can look at as well. Domestic challengers. We've got 3 Kingdoms. and Solar Impulse, who fought it out at Doncaster last time, and Three Kingdoms previously had been second in the Wayward Lad to Vibrato Valtat.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting. There's not an awful lot between Three Kingdoms and Vibrato Valtat. Vibrato Valtat is around a 4-to-1 shot. So, you know, for me, I just think Three Kingdoms represents value. He's battled hard and he's a good, solid jumper. And you can see here, he finishes his race off well. That's what you need at Cheltenham. You need something that's going to dig for you up the straight and dig for you coming up that hill. He's got all those qualities. And I think he's a cracking each way bet at a decent price. Because, you know, if something happens to Un De Sceaux, suddenly it's a wide open contest. And, you know, I think you've got to almost bet with that in mind. And, you know, I'm not saying I think Un De Sceaux will fall, but I think, you know, there's prices to be had about some of the others in the race.
Well, we've got Vibrato Valtat as well, who we mentioned as having form that ties in with Three Kingdoms. A quick word on him, Mick. He's 11-2 for Paul Nicholls.
Yeah, he's solid. He's a very easy traveller in a race. He jumps well. And, you know, he'll be there to pick up the pieces if anything happens to Un De Sceaux. But I think at 11-2, is he better valued than Three Kingdoms at 25-1? I don't think so.
So Un De Sceaux, 4-7 market leader, but Mick, there's plenty of each way value, and your tip each way against the favourite is?
Three Kingdoms.